All right, hello, everybody. Welcome to the Wapiti Wednesday Live Q&A for November 6th. Um, so I was chatting with Mike again yesterday, trying to get him on, and he's just so busy because, like I said, he's a college professor of biology, anatomy, kinesiology, all that stuff. But he also has that Cut Right app for field care and meat processing, and he also does butchering on the side. He has a trailer that he will pull up to your house. You just give him the code to your garage. He comes in, pulls the meat out of your fridge or cooler or whatever, cuts it up right there in his trailer, wraps it, and then puts it in your freezer and closes the garage. And off he goes. But yeah, unfortunately, he had a client tonight that just couldn't move. But he said next one in 2 weeks he is 100% in. So I kind of had to flip flop the days. So tonight we're going to kind of talk about 2025 season prep. But for starters, Mr. Gregory, how you doing? Says he's connected. Ah, so, anyways, 2025 season prep. Reason I kind of want to talk about that is right now is a great time to start your season prep because everything is still really fresh in your mind from this season. You know, things that you saw in your hunt area, things that you encounters that you had with elk, things that you noticed in behavior, things that you noticed in vocalizations. Um, was your hunt area even productive? Do you need to find a new hunt area? And so that's why it's kind of nice to get going now, especially if you have to completely move your area. Because, starting now, you have plenty of time to really do a lot of e-scouting on onX and really break those areas down. But also, too, things that you learned out in the field in your hunt area, maybe you found a new pocket or something. Now you can really take a look at it on onX. You can look at it in the 3D view. You can find more about that area. How are they coming in? Where are they going out? All that kind of stuff. And so you can kind of piece the puzzle together a little bit more. But then on the flip side too is because of these areas, now you can start planning your trail cameras. So, you can get all this stuff done now so that when springtime comes, I know it's crazy. We're talking about springtime. I mean, snow's just starting to fly, but we're talking about springtime. But this is where you can increase your effectiveness by having a game plan as soon as that snow is off the hills. So then you immediately know. I mean, that's one thing that I've been thinking about lately was, with the things that we found and okay, where we had the cameras at this year, I'm not going to put all the cameras back in the same place. There's one camera I'm going to put in the same place, but this time it's going to be in a safety box. It's going to be in a bear box just because the elk hammered that one too much. But then also too, past that, there's a spot up on a little saddle that just had a ton of rubs in it. And I'm kind of thinking that's where those bulls were kind of hanging out. So the camera down low in that intersection, they were just kind of, we were catching them transition. But I think that spot up top, really going to catch a lot more. Definitely going to put the camera back up high too, because we were never able to get up there and hunt, just with the closure area closed before we got up there. And then with the cameras that we had on the roads, found some other areas that are just a link past those that I think we're just going to pick up so much more activity. I know we hardly had any pictures on our trail cameras this year. So by me saying we're going to pick up a lot more activity, I really think that we're going to get A lot more pieces of the puzzle as far as travel and how they're getting in and out of this area, and it just kind of funnels down a little bit more. So it's just fine tuning everything on this piece, plus that one great big giant wallow that we found. I gotta put a camera on that because I mean there was body prints in this mud, and I just want to see what's hanging out in this thing. So, um, as far as the calling goes, what did you hear? What was there sounds that you heard that you kind of want to, I really want to learn that skill. Maybe it's the regathering mew. Man, I heard a lot of elk really doing this regathering mew, and man, I really want to learn that sound, and I want to practice that. And remember the 2190 rule, it takes 21 days to form a habit, but it takes 90 days to create a lifestyle. So that's why I'm saying things that you start doing now in 90 days, things are going to be a lot different. They're going to become automatic. You're not going to have to think about them. And it helps you be more prepared. And it really, I mean, September goes by so fast. So you want to have all these pieces of the puzzle together before season hits. You don't really want to be trying to figure things out when the season's going because it's such a small window and goes by so fast. Really, snow's just starting to fly. Winter's just really getting started.
Yeah.
But this thing's going to go by really fast too. It just, we sit there and think, oh, I'll do it next week or this or that. And then next week turns into another week, turns into another week. And then next thing you know, it's like, holy crap, spring's here. I didn't do anything I wanted. Um, Working out, getting in shape, getting prepared for the season. There's just so many avenues that you can be working on now. Maybe it's you want to really soften up your cow sounds. Okay, it takes a lot of practice to really get that control to where you can really get that soft. Or maybe you want to go to a new reed. Maybe you want to go to a reed that is more reactive and takes less tongue pressure and less air pressure to operate. Man, if you're coming from a heavy latex reed to that, it takes a lot of practice and a lot of frustration too to sit there and work on that because you're going to have to find a different, you may not necessarily have to find a different position with the reed in the roof of your mouth, but you're going to have to find a different position with your tongue. I mean, one thing that I found to get that really soft was I had to pull my tongue way back. I'm almost using the tip of my tongue to get that soft, and that took a lot of practice because I used to use a really reactive reed like that. I really liked them, and I'm not sure where along the journey that I decided that, man, I needed this heavy latex reed that, man, I could just hammer on and stuff. And when I got these lighter reactive reeds, I really hated them. In fact, the first batch, I threw them away. And then I heard somebody blowing on them again. I'm like, God dang it. So I went and bought more. And yeah, I spent a good part of August really getting used to those. And the more I played with the black ice and the stratum during the September, man, the more I just really enjoyed them. I was kind of worried that, heat of the moment, I might try to get too aggressive, but man, you can just stay nice and relaxed and just get some incredible tones and sounds on those things that, I mean, don't get me wrong, you can stress them, you can put too much pressure on them, but if you just relax and have fun, those things are awesome. So, Gregory, did you get your phone connected?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Oh, I was driving, so it said you don't have any audio, so I couldn't hear anything. And I finally got in the house.
Oh,
Still having difficulty with connection, but
well,
I'm here.
we were just bad mouthing you like we were 2 weeks ago when you couldn't get in. Everybody else could get in. The link worked fine. So it was you that drew the short straw 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I even went into the Apple store today to have them help me figure it out. So, and it's something with my network here.
You at your house or you at the cabin?
I'm at my house.
Oh, well, that's weird because you didn't never had problems before.
I know, and that's 2 weeks ago was the first I had trouble, and I have no idea what caused it.
Huh.
So
Kind of odd show, but yeah, I know you guys kind of had a little different season over there this year.
we did, yeah. Hardly any sounds, not very large groups. There was still feed everywhere,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, we just couldn't get them to reply. We couldn't. It was only like 2 or 3 mornings that we had any vocalization of the bulls,
Wow.
and even then, you answer back whether you bugled or cow called, they'd shut up.
That's one of the things I kind of talked about was did you notice that their vocalizations were pretty soft, pretty
Yeah,
quiet?
yeah, they weren't very loud. They weren't very angry.
No. But that's one of the things that I had talked to several people about, and we kind of touched on this a little bit 2 weeks ago, but if you're hearing them being that soft, and you have this, and that's another reason why I switched to these reeds that I did this year, because if they're really soft and you have a reed that has mega volume, even if you're doing cow sounds, because I mean, if you're hearing elk, soft like that, and
Yeah.
Yeah,
they're gonna be like, something ain't right on the script here.
yeah,
So, and a majority of the people that I was talking to, that's exactly what it was, and they were like, well, yeah, and I'm like, well, you weren't matching your surroundings, and I mean, it was kind of a weird year because I mean, where we were at, we were in bugles and saw elk every day, even though we got shut out of our area. And then what's crazy is 2 weeks ago I took Knox up on a rifle hunt, and we had a bull that probably bugled 40 times that day. He was so stinking hoarse he sounded just like a foghorn.
yeah. Well, it to us it felt like the rut occurred later in early October
Yeah.
sometime.
Yeah, and that's how it was in some areas, and now I know why. So, we shifted back into a La Nina weather pattern, and so now actually they're forecasting colder temps and more snow in our area than what
Yeah,
they were originally anticipating. So, we were planning on everything being in a El Nino pattern, and well, somewhere in the mix there, it shifted from a El Nino to a La Nina. So, and I mean, look at the snow that's already hit within the last 10 days. And heck, there's another storm that's hitting Sunday that, I think it hits the mountains Sunday and goes through Wednesday, Thursday. And I mean, it's dumping 14 inches of snow in the valley floors.
yeah,
So the other thing too is 2 weeks ago in some area, like the herd over there in Estes Park, 2 weeks ago they started migrating out of the park for no
wow,
reason. They just no snow had fallen. They just started migrating out of the park and heading to their wintering grounds. So, which kind of people were like, "That's odd. Why are they doing this?" And then a few days later, they got their answer because the first major snowstorm hit. And
Yeah, we still have cameras up there, and there's snow there, and there's still elk activity all around.
Yeah, you'll get in some areas. I mean, it'll be the snow that pushes them down as it gets, harder and harder to get food feed. They'll just slowly, work their way down the mountain to their wintering grounds because they don't want to go to the wintering grounds too soon because they know that there's limited feed and they're not exactly sure how long, they're going to be there.
Right.
So they'll stay up on the mountainsides. It's just you'll find them more on the southern slopes, the warmer side of the mountain, the more open, sunbaked because the snow melts a little faster. And um, it's interesting. I went up to Idaho City yesterday, and with that fire that just happened outside of Boise here a month or so ago, everybody was, you know, banging their drums and oh, there goes more wintering ground for the animals and fish and game. Idaho Power was the one that caused the fire, and they were like, Idaho Power better get out their checkbook and be ready to write checks for feeding these guys during the winter. And man, I drove up there yesterday, and that whole burn area is green. There was 3 to 4 inch tall green fresh grass and shoots growing because of the moisture that we've had with the sunny weather. And I'm like, man, if it keeps doing that here,
Uh,
they're they're gonna have plenty of feed in that burn area.
that would be good.
Yeah, and that's what's happening in the other areas where the fires burn. You've just got, in fact, I was telling Jim I've got a muzzleloader hunt for cow that starts Sunday, and that's what I was going to do. I was going to go up into that burn because they've lifted all closures, so I was just going to go up in that burn area and just sit and wait for them to come in that burn area and feed because I know it's just full of grasses, but
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to go deal with 2 feet of snow because there won't be any fresh grasses
After long.
easily found. So, well, Greg, we're kind of talking about starting to prep for 2025 based on some of the things that, and the reason starting right now is because everything's kind of fresh in your mind. What do you think some of the things you guys found this year that you may want to adjust into 2025 season?
We're thinking of, because we go up for the whole month. We're thinking of not going up till like the 10th, 11th, or 12th instead of going up right after Labor Day weekend. And so we're thinking there was more activity towards the end of the month. Uh, the temperatures were better towards the end of the month. It was too warm at the beginning, and yet to if you get a carcass down, to fight to get it out quick, to get it chilled down, and to have the threat of bears coming in on you, it just we just thought let's just wait till later when it's cooler, later in the season.
Yeah, that's kind of funny because yeah, Brandon took his and ran it to camp or ran it to town immediately. But I was actually looking at one of those camp cooler kits that it's basically it's a reinforced pop-up dome tent basically,
Yeah,
but it has an internal rack that you can hang quarters, and then it has a port to put an air conditioner through, and then you can run it with the cool bot that I mean, you can turn that room into 42 degrees. It's got insulated panels, and so basically you're creating a small little walk-in cooler right there in camp. And I mean, it's not that critical for us. I mean, we're an hour and 15 minutes from camp to the butcher, so I mean,
yeah,
it's not that bad. But for those people that are, 3, 4, 5 hours, I think that would definitely be something to look at.
yeah. If we get something, we'll hang it for a couple of days or so until we get an opening. Then we'll cut and wrap it and get it in the freezers because we have freezers there,
Yeah.
cabin. So
Yeah, and see, I like leaving my stuff hang for 10 to 12 days. It just breaks down the tissue a little bit more, lets the rigor mortis get out of there, and you end up with some really good steaks. But you know what? You guys save those questions for 2 weeks from now because Mike Edgehouse will be here. So he's a butcher and a biologist, and so he'll you guys can ask him all kinds of questions about hanging and aging and cutting and wrapping and field care and even can get into recipes. He's got quite a few recipes on his app that make your mouth water a little bit.
I agree. The longer it hangs, uh, the better the meat.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
Up to a point.
definitely, definitely.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. So yeah, also a few takeaways that I've got. You know, definitely going to break everything down with Liz and shooting. I mean, I'm gonna strip all the veins off of her arrows. First off, make sure that have the correct length and the correct spine, and then I'm going to knock tune every single one of her arrows so that way they're basically loading and spined consistent every single time. Um, get her shooting through the winter in some 3D stuff, but then, next summer when we're in camp, I'm going to have her shooting in odd positions because we didn't get a chance to do that this summer. She basically just stood there at 20 yards and so she's going to start playing some games with us where got to guess the yardage and execute the shot, and maybe you might have to get down on your knees or something and just get her more comfortable with shooting. Um, Knox, it's just a matter with him of it. Biggest thing with him on that hunt, it was just hard because of the tripod. So um, I think if I would have brought the bipod attachment with me, we could have crawled up on our bellies to the top of that ridge and been able to see where that bull was bedded, and then he could have shot from the prone position. And so that's one thing I want to do with him this summer is have him shoot pellet gun and 22 from the prone position, so he's used to setting up in the prone and getting the right eye relief on the scope and all that kind of stuff. So that way we have more options with both Liz and Knox with shootability and where we can set up and all that kind of stuff and get Liz going on calls. So
That'd be that would be good. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I'm glad she enjoyed it and wants to go back. I think she's hooked.
Oh, absolutely, she's hooked. So she's told the story a few times to people and she's like, she goes, Michael used to talk to me about it, and you really can't understand unless you experience it yourself. And now that I've experienced it, I kind of enjoy listening to his stories and encounters more because it brings that feeling back of, what I had. And so, yeah, she's definitely hooked.
Yeah. That was one of my goals, why I had my son and one of my brothers come up and join us the last week is just my son has hunted deer with me, but never elk. And for them to do a cow call and to get a bull or a bull to answer from the distance, that they felt it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we had a good year. Absolutely. Looking forward to it for sure. So,
Good.
okay, guys. Well, that's all I got for tonight. Jim, I'd ask if you had anything from this year that you're going to
Yeah,
carry over, but
this year, I think my my takeaway would be
draw a
get,
tag.
get exactly. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, hopefully. Nice thing is your guys' draw is pretty early, so you can find out pretty quick in the year.
yeah, we kept it in by like the second Tuesday, I think, or the first Tuesday in February.
Yeah.
We'll know by the end of the month if you got it or not.
Yeah.
So that's
So then you either look forward to a great summer of scouting or you dread just because, yeah, I guess we're just focusing on fishing this year.
yeah, hopefully. It's been 3 years, so
You
and it's
do.
been like almost every 3 years, so
Well,
we'll see what happens.
hopefully draw a good one. So,
Yeah.
all right, guys. Well, that's all I got. So we're gonna wrap this one up. Like I said, in 2 weeks we'll have Mike Edgehouse, a special guest, on here to talk about in the field meat care, butchering, talk about his app, and just any meat related questions you guys have. So would strongly encourage all of you guys to tune in live on that episode and bring your questions and just we'll put Mike in the hot seat and you guys just fire away at him.
Okay.
So as
I'm
always,
going to email you the warning I get or the message I get on my computer here when I try to log in at home. It says a certain website can't be found. And so I'll send you what a picture or a copy of what it says it can't find.
okay,
And
yeah, send it to me and we'll troubleshoot and see if we can figure it out.
yeah, I
Okay.
thought maybe it's something that you don't even recognize that it's trying to connect to.
Huh, okay. Yeah, send it to me and I'll troubleshoot and we'll see what we can find out. So,
Okay.
all right, guys, as always, keep calling, keep practicing. More importantly, though, have fun. And we will see you guys in 2 weeks on the next episode of Wapiti Wednesday Live Q&A.
Okay.
Okay.
See
Have
you
a good
guys.
night.
See you guys.